Ukraine announced that they have been selling billions of dollars worth of gold in order to buy goods. There's only one problem. The amount of gold they said they've sold is about 10 times more than the gold that they officially have ever owned. Ready? Let's dive in. All right, so Ukraine has announced that it has been selling massive amounts of gold in order to be able to afford to buy the stuff that it needs. Take a look at this article from Reuters. They said they sold over $12 billion of its gold reserves during the war, since the start of the war. And they said here that they are selling this gold so that their importers are able to buy necessary goods for the country. It's not being sold in order to help out their currency. However, this number doesn't make that much sense because, as pointed out on shiftgold.com, we can see that the National Bank in Ukraine only held about 27 tons of gold in its reserves, which is about $1.6 billion worth. Now, just in order to double check the data here, let's head over to ceicdata.com to look at Ukraine gold reserves. And we can see that, yes, indeed, we see about $1.6 billion worth of gold being held by Ukraine in April of 2022 here. So it's been on the decline this year, probably because of the war, but it doesn't really make sense how Ukraine has been able to sell so much gold. Now, the price of gold has been dropping since its peak that happened right at the start of the invasion. However, if they are selling a lot of gold, a couple of things could be going on here. Number one, again, as pointed out on shiftgold.com, it's possible that they are tapping into domestic gold supplies. So Private Bank is a large commercial bank, but it was nationalized in 2016. So when we talk about gold ownership, when I talk about owning gold, buying gold on this channel a lot, there are a couple different ways to do it, all with their own pros and cons. If you hold gold yourself, you don't have counterparty risk, right? Because it's in your backyard, it's in your safe, it's in your walls, wherever it is, but you still have the risk of somebody coming and physically taking it from you, right? The suit's knocking on your door saying, hey, executive order, new one rolled around town today and we're confiscating all the gold here. So that could be something going on in Ukraine right now. They could be saying, hey, all the gold that everybody has, we're taking it, whether it's in banks, wherever it is, we're taking it, we're going to sell it because officially they didn't have as much as they've been selling. So where's it coming from? And so that's a risk that you have when you hold gold yourself. Now, the other thing you could do is pros and cons, right? There's always a trade-off. You could store it outside of your country and then you eliminate the risk of somebody coming and taking it from you physically, but then you do introduce counterparty risk where, okay, well, what if something happens in that country, right? So there's some wisdom in diversification, not putting all your eggs in one basket, but something like this here where they're saying, hey, we're selling a lot of gold. Maybe they're taking it from somebody. Now, the other option is maybe they're selling paper gold here. Maybe they're shorting gold in order to get the proceeds that they need. Possible that's probably not what's going on, but it is possible that that's what's happening, in which case they're going to have to cover those shorts at some time, which we've seen the price of gold falling since the war started. That could have some upwards pressure if they then have to unwind those trades and close those shorts out. At the end of the day here, what this story shows is that for most people in most of the world, it's still true today, gold is viewed as the ultimate reserve asset. A central bank owns gold because you can't just have another country freeze your assets, again, unless they're stored there, right? And so Russia got their dollars frozen and seized. And if Russia can get their dollars frozen and seized, so can you, right? And so gold is something that is physical. Nobody else can just say, oh, you don't have it anymore unless they come and physically take it from you. So there's wisdom in getting it diversified. However, at the end of the day, central banks have been buying gold for years, storing up more and more and more gold on net. They've been buyers for over a decade now. And most people around the world still store at least some of their wealth in gold. And as geopolitical risks escalate around the world, it's more and more likely that countries will have to rely on the real wealth that they hold that can't be frozen by other countries, rather than what has been going on for the last few decades, where the entire world relies on a single currency that can be taken away and frozen at any time. And if you'd like to get started with buying gold, I've got affiliate links for all my favorite services and platforms linked in the description below with some bonuses as well. As always, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.